Okay, my name is Tony Holler. I'm a high school chemistry teacher, and I've coached and taught school for 38 years. I'm retiring this year from the classroom, and I'll continue to coach, I hope. And I'm here to talk about Feed the Cats. This is something that 20 years ago, I had this crazy idea that maybe if I had the best athletes in the school on my track team, we would be really, really good. And so I made some changes to practice, and I changed a lot of things with the idea that I want to make track the best part of an athlete's life. And it worked. The kids came out for me. But then what I found out was they got amazingly fast doing the things we were doing. So it was an unintended thing that I'd almost sold out to the idea that we were going to train in a way that would not be effective. But what we actually did, we found out that it was extremely effective. I hated track and field in middle school, in high school, and in college. It ruined my day every day. I loved my coach. He was also my football coach. But he called us the Dragons because we're going to run us till our ass was dragging. And that's what we did. We ran very hard every day. Not very fast, but long and hard, and pretty much. How many of you had similar experiences? Yep. And then I went to college, and I thought I kind of grew out, or I grew as a person in like inventive ways, and like the college experience. We'll just leave it at that. But then I took my first job, and I really defaulted back to everything that I came from. I became Roger Wilcox, my track coach, and I'm sad to say I coached that way for 18 years. For 18 years I coached in a way that I didn't care if the kids liked it or not. We were going to work hard, we were going to outwork our competition. Three big things happened in 1998. First of all, I had the best track team in the state of Illinois, but we were a 400, 800 base team because of all of our hard work, and we went to the state meet and got beat by a team full of sprinters and jumpers, and it pissed me off. And then my son, who was in middle school, I knew Alec was going to be a terrific athlete, one of my great ones, and he told me he was going to play baseball in high school, and that pissed me off. And then I met a guy named Paul Souza. I'd never heard of him in my life. I went to a clinic in St. Louis. He coached at some little school in Massachusetts, a Division III school, and he talked about treating sprinters different than distance runners, and that they were cat-like creatures, and how you could train for the 400 without ever running a 400 in practice, and it was my epiphany. He retired young from coaching, and now is the lead singer for the Velveteen Playboys. That's the type of guy, those are my idols, people like that. I do think that the majority is almost always wrong. Almost always. If you find yourself in the mainstream, you probably need to reflect. I'm more of a Frank Zappa type of guy, that you must deviate from the norm if you're going to be successful. Living a copycat life is not much fun. It keeps clicking twice. The post-Epiphany success we had was very interesting. We won the 4x1 at the state meet for the next 6 years. We were upset in 2002 and 2004 that we got fourth, but that is a kind of unprecedented success in the 4x1. My team that's shown right there set state record in the 4x1 small school in class A in Illinois, and then last year my team set the 3A record. My anchor guy is 5'6", weighs 150. He just got his braces off a couple months ago. He was 15 years old when he ran that. He was a sophomore, and that was a 9-3 split that he ran. He also set the state record in the 100 meters. As a 15-year-old sophomore, ran 10:31, win legal. As a freshman, he ran the fastest 100 in the history of the world for a 14-year-old at 10.40. So he is a true phenom. I did not make him. He came to my school. But I've helped him. I've nurtured him. If you're interested, this DVD came out like last Friday, and it's already sold like 1.5 million copies. So it's hot. I would have brought some with me, but I flew on Spirit Airlines, and it could only bring a purse with me. I really tried to jam a couple in there, but I was having to take out like my shirts so I brought none with me. But at the top of my Twitter feed, you can buy this. It's actually pretty well done. It's very well done. I want to talk about the 14 pillars of Feed the Cats. The 14 pillars are all very important, but the first pillar will pretty much take up, it's the most important one. The central pillar is to make max speed your one and only priority. Everything else is secondary. I ran in track and field and never wore spikes, never was timed in a short sprint in middle school, high school, or college. Never. And that's all we do. The main thing, of course. If you want to run fast, max speed has to be a part of your program. I believe this guy nearly ruined high school track and field. Clyde Hart is a wonderful man. Fantastic person. But his program is just god-awful. There are people who literally start their first day sprint program running 15 200s. And when coaches plug that in, not only did it hurt speed, but it also hurt their track and field numbers. Cats do not like to run 15 200s. They just don't. Why did he have success? Because he recruited the 4 best 400 meter guys in the nation every year. We take neighborhood kids. I love this. We want to go big in places where it counts. We want to run fast. So everything is like, we're going to run fast. The bottom thing is kind of like, we're going to run a 3-mile run with some 200 repeats on Monday, and then we're going to run fast on Tuesday. That's like going in two different directions, and you're going to end up being like that dot. You don't want to be the dot. You want to be a big arrow, going in the right direction. Ni nido o omo wa ido mo izu. Japanese for if you chase 2 hares, you catch none. What do I mean by 2 hares? I mean aerobic and sprint. I mean tempo and max speed. I mean squatting and max speed. I believe that most things that coaches do outside of sprinting actually works against what we're trying to accomplish. Stuart gives me a hard time saying that in my program, well, of course, if all you had to do is sprint, it'd be a pretty easy sport to coach. Well, by God, it is an easy sport. And people like Stu, I love the guy, but people like Stu make it real complicated. He believes that you gotta go rhythm and timing and technique and coordination and fluidity and flow, and he throws etc. on there too, because he probably has a lot of other things that he wants to accomplish. And then there's old school coaches. I looked up old school track coach and this guy's picture came up. I hope he's not here. But he just looks like that old school track coach. And stretching, weightlifting, aerobic training, general fitness, core work, speed, endurance, cool downs. Whoever thought that cool downs was a good idea? Unbelievable. And I'm sure he has a lot of other things that he tried to get accomplished as well. Most coaches go big on everything. They try to do it all, have it all, fit it all in. It's a coach's disease. Because as coaches, most of us were hard working, come early, stay late, love the sport, not the most gifted. We got there from hard work, and therefore, by God, we're going to preach hard work for the rest of our life. Most coaches are this guy. They want to do it all, have it all. They want to go big, but they want to go big in 10 different directions. And then you're going to drown in shallow water. I want to swim in deep water. I don't want to drown in shallow water. And that's what happens to people who go in too many directions and try to do it all. Sprinting is the foundation of sprinting, and if that's too simple for you, then we just disagree. How do you train like a cat? You sprint as fast as possible, as often as possible, staying as fresh as possible. That's how you do it. Freshness is really, really important. You don't plant beans and grow corn. That's a Southern Illinois saying. Basically what that means to me is like you don't squat to get fast. You don't run stadium stairs to get fast. You put your spikes on, you sprint to get fast. You got to have a system. I use Free Lap because it's weatherproof, waterproof, all that stuff, and I wrote for the company and got mine for free. 10 cents a word. So I got like $4,000 worth of stuff. But I can't imagine, I can't imagine because until I met Chris Corfist, I had 12 years where I timed 10,000 40s a year for 12 years. Handheld. That works too. But with this, you can measure top speed. That's why this is so good. Top speed is how fast can you go at top speed. Like how fast, full run. I get the question all the time, what run in do you get for the 10-meter fly, coach? Whatever it takes. I mean, if you have a 5-meter run in, you're not top speed. You got to get your car you are trying to chase infinite speed on every speed day. Infinite speed. You can't practice lightning fast vertical force when you're tired, period. A tired sprinter, you send them home. Bolt has never run a mile. He was asked what his mile time was, and he laughed. I've never run a mile. My college coach used to send us on a 6-mile run every Monday as kind of a recovery type thing. And he said he read it where it was good for hamstrings. And he was pretty much right, because none of us ever pulled a hamstring, ever, because we're so damn slow that those massive contractions never happened. So he did keep us healthy. Aerobic conditioning, we never have an aerobic workout, period. We never run a lap, we never run slow. You don't put a leash on a cat and say, let's go for a jog. You just don't. I'm still in the first pillar, by the way. The first pillar is the big one, Yeah, it will destroy a sprinter's nervous system, which is the most precious thing he has. People ask me, how come Marcellus Morris is so fast? He has an elite nervous system. It's totally elite. It is unbelievable. Did I create that in him? No, but I didn't mess it up. I didn't mess it up. It's really cool. There's probably 100 schools that say they feed the cats. And one guy, Alton High School, wrote me a nice email and said I asked, one of my guys said, Coach, we never sprinted last year in practice. He said, well, what did you do? He said, we just ran. And that's really, really an important distinction, because running and sprinting are two different things. Two very different things. I ran high school track in Adidas Superstar Pro models. Did not spike up one time in practice. I did feel fast in the meets, but that was just a relative thing, When you take off your boot-like basketball shoes and put on spikes, you do feel fast. I say 10 by 200, but the Duke coach told me today he knew of a program that started their first day of sprint practice running 3200s with 3 minutes rest at 30 seconds. This is a college Division I sprint program, 3,200s with 3 minutes rest at 30 seconds. I could not, and sometimes people try to talk me down and they say, Coach, every philosophy is right. What works for somebody else and what works for you might be two different things. I say wrong. I say that guy is hurting kids and we can't be friends. You train fast to run fast. Nobody looks like this when they're running 10 times 200. And you gotta look like this. This is sprinting. This is not running. Now, a lot of people, when they hear me talk, feel terrible because they've been so misguided for, like forever. They're like, Coach, I'm 55 years old. I've coached wrong all my life. And I go, yeah, you have. But you know what? Second best time to plant a tree is like right now. You can change now. And I also say that speed grows like a tree. You can't see changes from day to day. You see the changes over a longer period of time. But what about speed and endurance? I bet your 400 meters guy, no. The first question is always, what do you do for your 400 guys?